So, I want to talk about the importance of silence and meditating in your life. So, have you ever had one of those days where you're just not feeling right in yourself, maybe feeling a little bit on edge, maybe feeling like the momentum of the day is kind of taking it away from you? Negative things keep happening. Maybe it was just a bad morning, and like you feel like the whole day is now um, traveled on this path that is just negative, and you can't seem to shake it. Well, the best thing to do is to um, stop the momentum of the day. So, how do you do that? Well, I'll tell you how you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it by stimulating yourself with X or Instagram or YouTube, listening to a podcast, doing work, or anything that's going to fry your dopamine. Um, Anything physical, eating loads, trying to distract yourself. It's not gonna. It's not gonna really solve the problem for that day. Like you'll notice that a nice sleep you'll wake up in the morning feeling refreshed and better. And why is this? Well, the sleep stops the momentum of the day. So the best way to kind of midday stop the momentum of going even further negative and allow yourself to slow the momentum down or just change the direction is meditation or just silence. No stimulation whatsoever. Just lie down, sit up, calm music if you want. And when I mean music, no, I mean like ambience in the background, like whether it's just background ASMR rain noises or whether it's like some chill synths or 5 to 8 hertz or whatever it is. Or the best thing to do actually is probably just nothing and literally just sit up, stare at a wall, or or go outside for a walk, and sit down in a park and just look around and look at the trees and just have nothing that's entering your ears or your eyes or your mouth, nothing that's literally just entering and distracting yourself. You've got to be just calm, and then your brain will start flickering through the negative things that have happened, and then you'll end up working it out, and then you'll feel the momentum. You'll like slowly start to come back down to calm, and then once you come back down to calm, then this is where you can actually use your will to change the direction of the day, and think of something that you can intentionally do. That is like whether it's a prayer for someone else or whether it's something that's productive, um, or whether it's I don't know, something that's helpful for someone, message a friend, wish them well. Just do a positive action after this, and then you'll find that the day will start gathering momentum into positive actions again, and then that will make your mental space, like your spirit or your mental just well-being, shift into a more positive direction as well. Um, Instead of just lingering and distracting yourself, it's you're essentially going to waste a day. Um, so obviously, if you've got work, it's going to be difficult to do, but you can at least um, not let it carry on to your home, being stressed all day, is if after work you just go for a walk and sit down in a park or sit down next to a stream or a river, or be just in the woods, just whatever kind of nature you have near yourself, or if not, just go to your office. It depends if you've got a busy household as well, so it depends on what your individual situation is. But if you can find a place where you can just be quiet and be alone with your thoughts, try not to look at your phone while you're going for because everyone has that temptation when it's quiet just to check the stock market, check what's happening on Twitter, check your business, check work, text friends, text family. Everyone will have that itch to go on the phone, but you've just got to not, because the phone is what is distracting us from being with us, our thoughts, the majority of the time. It's actually just constantly there, and it's probably causing people a lot more anxiety than people actually realize. I think a lot of people do realize it these days, but they don't realize why. And I think the reason why is because it distracts you from actually um, being alone with your thoughts, which is quite a scary kind of concept at first. But then you realize you can actually metabolize them and change them and um, plan your life path a little bit better when you're in like a calm frame of mind. Also, when you're in the quiet and you're in a calm frame of mind, like when you're at a neutral place or good, this is probably when the best ideas are going to come to you about what to do next in your life. And you should listen to those more than when you're in a negative, having a negative day, because that means the ideas can be influenced by these negative energies, meaning that it's going to like extrapolate to a long term negative vibe rather than it being a long term positive vibe or a long term calm vibe for foundations to build on for the future. I hope you guys understood that. It's a little bit of a weird topic, but you should definitely try it in your life and you'll probably see quite a few benefits to it. If your faith is in something that isn't in this dimension, it's stronger than something that is in this dimension, um, and it's always there with you, no matter where you are, in your spirit, in your mind, you can communicate with it. You could maybe put faith in yourself if you wanted to, which is a strong option, but this leads to like worship of self, which leads to pride, which leads to negative emotions, because you get so in your head, your ego becomes big, you think things can't possibly go wrong, and then they do go wrong, which means that the aftermath is you blaming yourself. It can be embarrassment, it can be shock, it can be guilt, it can be wanting to take revenge, it can be how dare they do this, how dare they do that. Whereas if you let those things go because your faith is in something higher, like if something goes wrong to me, or if something like there's a bad football result, for example, I'll use that analogy, I just go to God, and it honestly, it just reminds me that I may have done something wrong, you know, like I need to look at myself. What it does is it spurs me on to try and live a better life and not sin, because you can get punished for you know, the strongest I've ever felt, maybe not the strongest ever, but one of the when I'm in a good zone is when I'm living life correctly. Like, I'm not getting angry, I'm not drinking alcohol, I'm not doing things that are going to make me guilty, and or not doing things that are like seen as sinful in the Bible, and I feel like my faith that everything is going to be okay is really strong when I know that I'm living in a way that God wants me to live. And it's weird, sometimes when you just communicate with God, it's weird the feedback you can get. The coincidences get a bit too much to kind of just cast it off and say that this thing doesn't exist, in my opinion. I know I'm not going to convince any non-believers, because only God can really do that, but all I'd say is just give it a try. Just give it a try and see for yourself. But the main message of this is, if you don't believe in God, you're going to have to figure out something else that's infallible, that you can put your faith in, because if you don't, it's going to lead to a life of depression, anxiety, nihilism. Just, what's the point in living? You know, what's the point in anything if you don't have faith that things are going to be okay? Faith is a key aspect to living, in my opinion. And that's the message for today. Thank you.